you so much, Aishwarya, for joining us with those details. Now, shifting our focus to Maharashtra, elections in the battleground state of Maharashtra is tomorrow. Farmers are a key vote bank for both the MVA and the Mahayuti. Ahead of this big election day, we focus on agrarian issues of the farmers in the state, especially the soya-bean farmers in Nashik. My colleague Anuj Raite has this report. Take a look.
क्लाइमेट की वजह से मर रहा है और ये कानून के रूल से मर रहा है.
त्याच्यामुळं सोयाबीन पिकामध्ये ना शेतकरी पूर्ण घाट्यात गेलेला आहे. तर शासनानं याच्यावर 48 जणांना 6 जणांना काही नाही, हमी भाव 10च्या मोहर मिळाला पाहिजे आम्हाला शेतकऱ्यांना.
ड्यूटी बांग्लादेश के जो बढ़ाया है वो कम होना चाहिए और जो पेस्टिसाइड पे लिक्विड फर्टिलाइज़र पे जो GST लगा है 18% वो कम हो गया, तभी ग्रेप फार्मिंग बच सकती है.
किसानों के लिए दिन में लाइट चाहिए, किसानों के लिए जो सुविधा हो, समझो कैनल का पानी हो वो टाइम पे मिलना चाहिए.
In May 2024, the northern Maharashtra region cost BJP some crucial seats. Nashik, a district known for its agricultural prosperity, also rebelled over the onion prices. Leading up to the state assembly elections, soybean seems to have replaced onion in many parts. What makes this more interesting is the fact that soybean is one of the most widely grown crops in the state. Soybean has become a hot topic here in the political arena of Maharashtra days before the state goes to poll. There are several districts here in the state which are solely dependent on this crop, soybean, and soybean farmers are under extreme distress if you talk to them. Let us try and understand what is the magnitude of it. But what you see on the screen right now is the amount of soybean which the farmers here have been able to yield in this entire 2 acres of land. They believe that this is just 20 to 25% of what should have ideally been the case, while the majority of it is down in the ground as waste.
जब फडणवीस अपोजिशन में खड़े रहते थे तो 2014 में तो वो 6000 की डिमांड करते थे. अब 6000 डिमांड करते आज 24 से 10 साल हुआ. अभी उन्होंने 10,000 की डिमांड करनी चाहिए मतलब देनी चाहिए, क्योंकि वो अभी सरकार में बैठे हैं ना, तो देनी चाहिए. वो दे नहीं रहे, खाली बोलने का. जब इलेक्शन आता है, लोकसभा आई तब एक बात करने की, विधानसभा आई तब एक बात करने की. किसान इसमें मर रहा है. एक तो क्लाइमेट की वजह से मर रहा है और ये कानून के रूल से मर रहा है.
सोयाबीन पिकवणाऱ्या शेतकऱ्यांवर आव्हान म्हणजे हा जो पेड आहे सोयाबीनचा, हा एक तर जादा टेम्परेचरमध्ये जादा पावसामध्ये आहे ना, याची शेंग फुटते, शेंग फुटून जाती. मजुराची अडचण आहे, मजूर टाईमवर मिळत नाही, रेट मिळत नाही टाईमवर. त्याच्यामुळं सोयाबीन पिकामध्ये ना शेतकरी पूर्ण घाट्यात गेलेला आहे. तर शासनानं याच्यावर 48 जणांना 6 जणांना काही नाही, हमी भाव 10च्या मोहर मिळाला पाहिजे आम्हाला शेतकऱ्यांना.
When you look at Nashik region, it can be divided into several parts, right? Some parts of it get enough water while some don't. Some are a little more flourishing than the others. I'm present here in the Yevla Taluka of Nashik region, of North Maharashtrian region, and this is where the soybean issue is probably the hottest in this entire region. जो हमी भाव सरकार ने फिलहाल मंजूर किया है वो है 5000 के करीब. सबसे पहले बताइए कि क्या जो 4890 का हमी भाव जो सरकार ने मंजूर किया है, क्या वो आपको मिल रहा है फिलहाल?
नहीं मिलेगा.
कितना मिल रहा है अभी आपको?
आपको 41
4100 रुपए मिल रहा है.
100 रुपये मिलेगा.
Local leaders are contesting the election from Niphad have different opinions on the entire issue. While the incumbent MLA believes that the issue isn't that big in Nashik, the opposition thinks farmers will hit back through their votes.
किसानों के लिए क्या चाहिए? खेती माल को अच्छी तरह मुआवजा मिलना चाहिए खेती माल का, और बीज का मुआवजा बीज कम भाव में मिलना चाहिए। किसानों को खाद मिलना चाहिए, जो पहले 800 में थी अभी 1600 मिल रही है, 1800 में मिल रही है। किसानों के लिए दिन में लाइट चाहिए। किसानों के लिए जो सुविधा हो, समझो कैनल का पानी हो, वो टाइम पे मिलना चाहिए। वो ये देना चाहिए। वो ये जो सरकार दे रही पीएम किसान और ये लाडली बहना, वो कुछ नहीं चाहिए। किसान अभी भी वो कमज़ोर नहीं है। किसान अपने तरफ से जिंदा है, पर वो क्या है कि वो ऐसा समझो का तो किसानों के लिए ना सरकार जो ये रकम दे रही है, उससे किसान के लिए ऐसा लग रहा है कि वो कमज़ोर हो गया।
हमने किसानों को बोला है जिसको माल बेचना है वो अगर मार्केट में बेचेंगे, उसका जो डिफरेंस रहेगा वो अपन राज्य सरकार की तरफ से दे सकते हैं।
Farmer of soybean has been suffering. They have been expecting the rates of 10,000, whereas it is below 4. So altogether, farmers definitely will prove themselves with voting against this all issues.
An inconsistent oil import policy, a staggeringly low MSP, and lack of basic facilities from electricity to even water are some of the many reasons why the soybean farmers here in Nashik are dissatisfied with the current dispensation. While some believe that the schemes brought in by the government lately have actually helped them enough to compensate for the little price they're getting for soybean, the others believe that the government might need to pay a heavy price on the 23rd of this month. How many of these people will actually turn out on the 20th of this month and vote accordingly is something that we'll have to wait and watch out for. With camera person Mahesh Halwai, this is Anuj Raide reporting for NDTV from Nashik.
Now, breaking news coming in, there is high drama in Maharashtra's Virar. BJP Neta has been accused of cash for votes. Bahujan Vikas Aghadi workers are creating ruckus. BJP leader Vinod Tavre has been gheraued by Bahujan Vikas Aghadi workers after they allege that BJP is distributing cash for votes. My colleague Anuj Raite is joining me for more details. Anuj, take us to the whole controversy.
The Bahujan Vikas Aghadi members, they have accused Vinod Tavre of holding cash up to 5 crore rupees and also maintaining diaries in which records are present on what amount of cash is to be distributed in what parts of the city. This is a serious allegation made by Hitendra Thakur, one of the members of the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi. And as a result of that, the locals there have gheraued, we can see in the visuals that they've gheraued the General Secretary of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Vinod Tavre, who is here for campaigning. And although the Bharatiya Janata Party has refuted these claims and have said that there is no substantial evidence which the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi members or all those people who are accusing Vinod Tavre of putting out cash or giving out cash to voters have. But the ones who have accused Vinod Tavre of doing this are very stubborn on the fact that this kind of incident did take place, and it's not just the money that they've gotten basically, but also the diary in which all the records were present. So they've also stated that the police was taken there. The members of the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi were present there, and all of them have been informed about what has happened. But they also spoke to the media and said how they do not really expect much action from the police in this case, but they'll be trying their best to make sure that the ones in question here, that is Vinod Tavre and his associates, are questioned thoroughly for the same.
But Anuj, do we know any reaction coming in from the Maharashtra BJP unit's side? The allegation is very big, 5 crore being given for votes.
Yes, we are yet to get a reaction from one of the top leaders from Maharashtra, and especially because it is Vinod Tavre involved here. So it is going to be very big. But, all those who have basically spoken to media till now have completely refuted this claim and have said that the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi do not have any substantial evidence, be it photographic evidence or otherwise, to prove the same.
Anuj, just a day before Maharashtra goes for voting, this big allegation being made against BJP, what will its implication be on the polls tomorrow?
Since 5 p.m. yesterday, when the campaigning period ended, we saw that two major things have taken place. Firstly, the alleged attack on Anil Deshmukh yesterday in Katol, and today this. And both of these incidents involve two big leaders. And in both of these incidents, we are finding that the Mahayuti, or especially the Bharatiya Janata Party, in some sort of a tricky terrain. Of course, the incident that took place yesterday was far more serious, as it involves the body and the health of a senior and a former Home Minister of the state. But as far as this particular allegation is concerned, a lot will depend on what kind of proofs are the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi individuals or members are able to put forth in front of the authorities. Because, they will need to back their claims up with strong proofs. They are making a mention of a diary in which all the records are mentioned. And they're also talking about how people from Vinod Taude's end are in constant touch with the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi's leaders, asking them to letting it off go. But then they will need substantial proofs to take this ahead, especially if they want this incident to have any sort of an impact on the election, which is literally hours away from now.
Absolutely, Anuj. Big allegation, big proof needs to be made. We are still awaiting any reaction from the BJP side after BBA workers have alleged that cash for votes is a scheme that is being adopted by the BJP just a day ahead of polls. Thank you so much, Anuj, for those details. And with that, we are slipping into a very short break.
NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president.
Donald triumphs. What does Trump's win mean for America, for the world, for the wars, and for India-US relations? Non-stop coverage on NDTV. Top analysts and voices from the ground. Extensive coverage on NDTV.
This week on India Ascends. All eyes on upcoming Rio G20. India poised to mend emerging economies, G7 divisions. Trump 2.0. Is it time up, Trudeau? Ottawa stares at fresh turmoil. Chinese security personnel in Pakistan. Is it Beijing's bid to colonize Islamabad? And in Bangladesh, why does Attorney General want secular removed from the constitution? All this and more only on India Sense with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
We reached an agreement on petroling. We have gone back to where the situation was in 2020, and we can say with that the disengagement process with China, you can say, has been completed. The understanding, to my knowledge, is that we will be able to do the petroling which we were doing in 2020.
Hello and good afternoon. This is NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Let's quickly take you to the headlines we are tracking at 2 p.m. TDP's big decision, no non-Hindus on Tirumala board. BJP welcomes the TDD's decision to remove non-Hindus. High drama in Maharashtra's Virar. BJP Neta accused of cash for votes. BVA workers create ruckus. Madras High Court restrains grant of award to TM Krishna. Award can't be given in Subbalakshmi's name is what the High Court says. Order after Subbalakshmi's grandson objects, says TM Krishna criticized Subbalakshmi many times. Delhi continues to choke amid political blame game. BJP now blames the Aam Aadmi Party for Delhi health crisis. Delhi government demands artificial rain from centre. Andhra Pradesh scraps two-child norm in local polls. The Legislative Assembly has done away with the rule where candidates having more than 2 children were ineligible to contest the elections for local body polls. 15 accused arrested in the ragging case after the death of a first-year student who was made to stand for 3 hours in Gujarat's Darpur Medical College. Canadians flying to India to face more scrutiny. Canada enhances security screening for passengers flying to India. Let's start with some news which is coming in from Maharashtra. Remember, elections in the state are due tomorrow. Polling is due tomorrow, and today there was high drama in the Virar area of Maharashtra, where BJP Neta has been accused of cash for votes. Bahujan Vanchit Aghadi, the BVA workers, created ruckus at BJP leader an accused BJP leader Vinod Tawre of distributing money. Now, remember, Bahujan Vikas Aghadi is the party of Prakash Ambedkar, the grandson of Baba Saheb Ambedkar. The workers created a ruckus in the hotel in Virar, accusing Vinod Tawre and candidate Rajan Naik of distributing money. The police was also seen mediating, trying to calm the tempers there. Uproar broke out in the Nasupara after the information of BJP distributing money in presence of leader Vinod Tawre. Now, BJP reacts, in fact, to this incident. Tawre has said had come to meet some workers after planning for the polls. If there is any allegation of distribution of money, then Election Commission should investigate that. All the CCTV footage of the hotel should be checked. This is a baseless allegation as per the BJP. Anuj, my colleague, is with us at this moment. Anuj, now, this is something that a lot of poll watchers have been, in fact, speaking about, that the last 24 hours, there is going to be a lot of movement of money as far as these elections are concerned, which could play crucial role in these elections. Now, these serious allegations against Mr. Tawre.
These are very serious allegations, and this becomes especially important because a leader of Vinod Tawre's stature is directly involved in it. In the visuals, we can see that the workers of the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi are gherawing Mr. Tawre, accusing him of distributing the cash, also maintaining a diary in which the records contain on how much cash is given to who all. This is an allegation made by Hitendra Thakur, a leader of the Bahujan Vikas Aghadi, and this is going to be extremely crucial because we are just hours away from the from the polls right now, and it was said that this incident took place. The distribution of money has been going on for quite some time, and then as a result of that, he was get out today morning. But because this happens right after what happened in Vidarbha yesterday late at night in Katol, when former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh's car was also allegedly attacked. And in both these situations, we see that the Bharatiya Janata Party finds itself in a very precarious situation. Where on one end we are seeing that the MVA leaders are directly accusing the BJP of attacking their former Home Minister, while on the other hand we have their senior leader being accused of distributing cash hours before the election. But the BJP has maintained that this is just a stunt from the BVA, and it is their way of trying to gain limelight. But they're also saying, or rather stating, that if in case any of these things are proven right after the CCTV cameras of that particular hotels are checked, or if there are any more other substantial proofs that the if that the BVA is able to put in front of the Election Commission authorities, then strong action should be initiated. But as of now, they've termed it as a stunt and called it off, saying that there are not enough substantial evidence, to prove that Mr. Taude was indeed involved in either holding cash or distributing it in Virar.
Anuj, stay on with me. Let me also bring in our colleague Radhika, who is joining us with more details on this. Radhika, have the BVA workers, has there been some sort of proof that they have presented any complaint which has been made to the Election Commission?
Well, what we're hearing is that they're in the process of filing a complaint. There is a possibility there could be some evidence presented. But I did speak to a few BJP officials who have completely rubbished these allegations by BVA. In fact, some of the BJP leaders saying that Vinod Taude had gone to that particular place to meet the workers as far as the planning of polls are concerned. And if there is any sort of allegation, then the Election Commission should investigate it, is something that the BJP is very affirmatively saying. That if this is true, then there must be investigation. But this is nothing but gimmick as far as BVA is concerned. And they are free to check all the CCTV footage there on these allegations. So yes, BJP quite confident that these allegations cannot be proven. This is just a meeting by the senior leader of BJP, Vinod Taude, with a few BJP workers there, and there is absolutely no exchange or give and take of cash that has happened, is something the Bharatiya Janata Party has confirmed, or rather has said at this point. But whether this will lead to any sort of thorough probe in this matter, that is something that remains to be seen. In most likelihood, yes, BVA could possibly present some sort of evidence before the Election Commission and could take it forward from there. But will these allegations be proven day before the elections? That is something we'll have to wait and watch out for.
Thank you to both of you for joining us with this big story. In fact, remember, tomorrow is the elections in Maharashtra. The polling will start, and ahead of that, some serious allegations coming the BJP way being made by the BVA. Moving on now, the BJP has welcomed the decision of the TDD board to weed out non-Hindus from the staff. The new TDD board has taken a decision to send non-Hindus to the state government cadre or offer them VRS. In an exclusive interview, newly appointed TDD board chairperson had told NDTV the decision is fully justified. Why should non-Hindus work in Tirumala? Uma Sudhir, my colleague, is joining us with more details on this. Uma, this entire thing also gained a lot of traction when the allegations were made about the laddus and so on and so forth. Now with this move, how is it being looked at politically and also socially?
So like you mentioned, the Bharatiya Janata Party has welcomed the decision of the TTD board, the new board which met yesterday, to remove the non-Hindus from the TTD employment, the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. And B.R. Naidu, the newly appointed chairperson, is very clear that it's a Hindu institution and there is no reason for a non-Hindu to be working there because they would not have the same allegiance, and there is a matter of faith and matters that have to do with religion, and therefore this is not like any other kind of employment for these employees, and therefore they would be offered either the voluntary retirement service or they would be sent back to the state government. So politically speaking, the Telugu Desam as well as the BJP of course are in an alliance, and it's an NDA government that's in place in Andhra Pradesh, and the stand there is very clear. It is on the lines that the TTD board has spoken about. Even otherwise, there is the feeling in the larger Hindu community as well that there should not be non-Hindus serving there. The TTD chairperson, in fact, even mentioned that earlier there was this allegations of proselytization or many Christians also being present on the temple, and all that was something that the TTD wanted to take up as a cleanup operation. So that is one of the important decisions. The other important decision that the TTD board has taken is to move all their bank reserves, the money reserves that the TTD has. As you know, it's the richest such religious institution in the country or possibly in the world. They are going to move them from private banks to nationalized banks. How the kind of implications it will have for the private banks is something that we will need to wait and watch, but at least 5,000 crore rupees is the sum that we are talking about. Another kind of cleanup that he's talking about is 7 lakh tons of debris that he says has accumulated in the TTD the Tirumala Hills, and that is something that the new board wants to take up as an operation cleanup of the hills, because he says with huge numbers of pilgrims coming in, the earlier government or the board had not paid attention to clean up of the Tirumala Hills, and therefore they are going to take that up. And the fourth one is on a very important scam that was alleged in the previous government called a Srivani scam, and he's now said that that is going to be revised, and using artificial intelligence technology, they're going to bring down the waiting time for darshan also from about 30 hours to 2 to 3 hours for the pilgrims. Back to you.
Thank you so much for joining us with all those details, Uma. Moving on now to the national capital, where toxic air continues, ladies and gentlemen. There has been no relief. You may see the sun out today, but the air quality is still over 500 at many places in the national capital. Delhi is breathing severely toxic air. Schools, colleges have gone offline and have gone online, and the politics as Delhi chokes continues once again. Aam Aadmi Party has said that the centre is allowing farm fires. Why is the centre mum on pollution? They are questioning that the union environment minister so far has not made a single statement on this deteriorating situation, just not in the national capital, but in the entire North India region. Meanwhile, the BJP has accused the Delhi government by saying that most of the farm fires, which are polluting Delhi, are coming in from Punjab. The BJP is distributing masks to the people as a mark of protest. Now, the national capital, remember, is continuing to be a gas chamber, and after the Supreme Court yesterday came down heavily on the Delhi government and the Pollution Control Board, the schools were shifted to online mode. All schools, from classes nursery to class 12 now are online mode, and at this moment it's just not the national capital but the NCR region where the classes have been put online till the next decision is taken. Even the Delhi University has is holding the classes online till November 23rd.
I'm right now at the construction site of Dwarka underpass. We know Dwarka sector 8 is one of the pollution hotspots in the national capital. You can see right here the construction work is going on despite the graded response action plan stage 4 implementation, where there is complete ban on all sorts of construction as well as demolition activities. But here the laborers are of the opinion that they haven't been instructed or given any circular stating a ban on the construction एक्टिविटी. सर, आप मुझे बताइए कि ये अभी क्रेन चल रहा है, काम चल रहा है, सब कुछ हो रहा है फुल टाइम, राइट?
नहीं चल रहा है काम, तो मैनुअली काम चल रहा है, क्रेन से कुछ नहीं चल रहा है.
और मैनुअली तो काम तो चलाना भी होगा, क्योंकि नहीं तो इन लोगों को पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे.
हाँ, पैसे नहीं मिले. बंगाल से, यूपी से, जो भी झारखंड से, जो भी चारों ओर से लेबर आए हैं सब, इसीलिए चल रहा है काम. वो मैनुअली चल रहा है मैडम, ऐसे नहीं चल रहा है.
और सर, हर साल हम देखते हैं कि पोल्यूशन के वजह से कंस्ट्रक्शन बंद कर देते हैं. उसके वजह से जो लेबरर्स आते हैं, आप जैसे बोल रहे हो बंगाल से, बिहार से, तो उन लोग को पैसा कौन देता है?
मैडम, ठेकेदार देता है, कंपनी देती है पैसा. जो 1-2 दिन 3 दिन बैठते हैं उनका देता है, कंपनी देती है.
कॉम्पेंसेशन मिल जाता है?
हाँ, देती है मैडम. 8 घंटे की जो भी आता है दिहाड़ी वो देती है कंपनी.
बट अभी जैसे हम देख सकते हैं पूरा ऐसे स्मॉग आ गया है, पोल्यूशन लेवल बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, कोई इधर मास्क नहीं पहना है, काम भी चल रहा है. आपको नहीं लगता ये लोगों पे बुरा असर हो रहा है?
ये तो गलत है मैम, मगर कोई अभी थोड़ा ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं दे रहा है, मगर अब ध्यान देगा अभी.
और सर, कंपनी से कुछ ऐसे सर्कुलर ऐसा कुछ आया है कि काम बंद कर?
हाँ, कंपनी बोली है कि बंद कर दो. कंपनी से आदेश आया है कि काम बंद कर देना है. मगर हम लोग लेबर लाए हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हैं, तो काम चलाना पड़ेगा. उन लोगों को कैसे पैसा दिया जाएगा, कहाँ से दिया जाएगा?
ये सर क्या बन रहा है एग्जैक्टली?
ये द्वारिका एक्सप्रेसवे बन रहा है अंडरपास से मैम.
कब से बन रहा है
ये? मैडम, हमारे ख्याल से 2019 की 20 से बन रहा है.
Meanwhile, the government of Delhi is in fact, Delhi minister has written to the Union Environment Minister over clearances for artificial rain. In fact, the Delhi government is pushing for artificial rain. The chief minister yesterday had gone on to say that they are ready to bear the cost of artificial rain, which will bring relief. Now, in fact, this cloud seeding, Gopal Rai says, will reduce pollution and help citizens, and but the clearance is needed from the DGCA, the MHA, Defence Ministry and other agencies. The Delhi Health Minister has requested the Union Environment Minister to convene stakeholder meeting immediately and help Delhi government get NOCs and clearances. Gopal Rai has said that the BJP government deliberately is ignoring North India's health crisis. Now, in the letter, he said that Delhi can't get relief from pollution unless we break the thick layer of smog. Smog can either be broken by wind or by rain. Aam Aadmi Party is ready to bear the cost of the artificial rainfall in the national capital. The minister, in fact, has alleged apathy by the central government towards Delhi and has said that this is disheartening and disturbing. Maybe if I had written to Environment Minister of any other nation, he would have given time to meet me sooner than our own union government. Some harsh words being there used by the government of Delhi when they are trying to, in fact, invoke the union government to step in and give them clearances for artificial rainfall. So as Delhi continues to choke the heavy blanket of smog that you see around yourself, the pollution air quality index, ladies and gentlemen, very, very poor. In fact, in the severe category, if I'm not mistaken. And, let me just check, in fact, what is the air quality at this moment in the national capital. It's over 400 at this moment in the national capital. That's the average that we are talking about. Many places, in fact, in Delhi, the average air quality is 500, which is in the severe level. Moving on to Uttar Pradesh, where the Samajwadi Party has attacked the BJP, and the blame game ahead of the crucial, by-elections on the 9 assembly seats of Uttar Pradesh continue. Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister has called Samajwadi Party's letter misleading and has said that we follow poll panel rules. Remember, the Samajwadi Party had written to Election Commission, urging Election Commission to issue written warrants, a written order that no police men should check voter ID of voters. Muslim women were asked to leave because of wheels in the Lok Sabha elections, and Uttar Pradesh Deputy Chief Minister has now rejected these assertions of the Samajwadi Party. Let me bring in my colleague Aishwarya, who is joining us with more details at this moment. Aishwarya, what Akhilesh Yadav and the Samajwadi Party is saying is something that we also saw when we were reporting in Uttar Pradesh, where women in wheel especially had that problem. Now, was there any corrective measure done? Is the Election Commission taking cognizance of this?
Well, there has been claims and counterclaims both by the Uttar Pradesh Samajwadi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party. Of course, the letter that had been written by Uttar Pradesh Samajwadi Party Chief Shyamlal Pal clearly states, and he alleges that during the 2014 Lok Sabha polls as well, there were several instances, just not in one or two constituencies, but in several constituencies, where specifically Samajwadi Party Muslim workers and Muslim women supporters were sent back because of the reason that the police personals were checking their vein. On the other side, it was also alleged that it is only the duty of the polling officer, according to the ECI handbook, that they can check the identity card or the identity of any individual, be it women or be it the male voter. Perhaps just ahead of the 9 by-polls in Uttar Pradesh, now Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh had stated that all the protocols had been followed, the rules and regulations are being followed duly. There had no instance that had been alleged by the Uttar Pradesh Samajwadi Party chief in his letter to the Chief Election Officer of the Uttar Pradesh state, and there had been due guidelines which are followed. Police personals do not check it, polling officers check it, and that's the clarification that has come in from the Bharatiya Janata Party side as well. But yes, Akhilesh Yadav in the past and now Uttar Pradesh Party, Samajwadi Party Chief Shyamlal Pal repeating that allegations that this should not happen. And the request that had been made to the Chief Election Officer of Uttar Pradesh is that there should be a written document, there should be a written order from the side of Election Commission that this should not happen in the upcoming by-polls of Uttar Pradesh.
Thank you so much for joining us with all those details, Aishwarya, at this moment. Let's moving on to the Madras High Court order which has restrained the Hindu from presenting the Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award in the name of MS Subbalakshmi to musician T.M. Krishna. The court has said the Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award and cash prize can be granted to T.M. Krishna but not in the name of MS Subbalakshmi. The court was hearing a plea moved by Subbalakshmi's grandson Srinivasan challenging an award conferred to Krishna in her name. Srinivasan's main contention was that the award cannot be given to someone who had constantly criticized his grandmother. He pointed out to various instances of Krishna apparent criticism of Subbalakshmi, quoting the latter's write-up that appeared in the Caravan and the Wire, a speech he made in Hyderabad in 2016. T.M. Krishna, however, vehemently denied belittling the legend and added his remarks were taken out of context by Srinivasan.
Initially, they alleged that T.M. Krishna had made comments trivializing the achievements of the late legendary singer M.S. Subbalakshmi. But this particular order comes on the basis of her citing a will written by M.S. Subbalakshmi herself, in which she has clearly said that there shall be no institution of anything in her honor, which could include awards or any foundations in her name. It's on that basis the Madras High Court has today ruled that the Music Academy in Chennai can give the award to T.M. Krishna, but it cannot be in the name of M.S. Subbalakshmi. The award itself is called the Sangeet Kalanidhi Award in the name of M.S. Subbalakshmi, and it's in this context the court has said no in her name. But T.M. Krishna has denied these allegations, saying that his comments have been taken out of context. Earlier this year also, soon after the Music Academy had announced the choice of its candidate for this particular award this year to be given during the music season in December, a few renowned Carnatic artists had raised objection and had even said they would never perform again at the Music Academy. And the Music Academy, in a response, had said this award, he was chosen on the basis of a recommendation by an exclusive committee constituted for this purpose. And it's in this context we have to see this. But many also point out that Srinivasan, the grandson of M.S. Subbalakshmi, has not raised similar objections for, there are many other institutions or awards in the name of M.S. Subbalakshmi, and he has been quite selective, hinting that it's in a specific reference to T.M. Krishna, this objection has been legally presented, and now the court has given this particular order not to give any award in the name of Subbalakshmi.
Right. Thank you, Sam, for joining us with all those details. With that, we're slipping into a short break. News and updates continue here on NDTV. Stay tuned.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
NDTV proudly presents NDTV World Summit 2024, the India Century. I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inaugural session at the NDTV Summit outlined his vision for the India Century, driven by aspirational India.
हमारा प्रयास होगा भारत की सेंचुरी सिर्फ भारत की नहीं बल्कि पूरी मानवता की जीत की सेंचुरी बने.
The summit brought together prominent global leaders, highlighting India's pivotal role on the world stage.
Not just
Indians trusting India's leadership, but the global south especially trusting India's leadership.
Permanent seat on the UN Security Council is something that should be India's right.
Canada is concerned, I think there are some very specific issues. I think a lot of people know that.
AI is going to be one of the most important, drivers.
It's a very exciting time for India, Indian cinema as well at a global level.
NDTV World Summit was more than just a conversation. It was a confluence of ideas poised to shape our global future.
तालियों के साथ हम स्वागत करेंगे आदरणीय मोदी जी का।
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की।
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त पण का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
The last elections of 2024. It's the battle for India's economic heart. An election that will decide Maharashtra's future.
Can the big brother BJP manage the competing ambitions of Mahayuti? Can the Red Book rally the voters once again for Congress and its allies? So as Maharashtra's future trajectory takes shape, we report from the ground.
Two visions, two ideology, one verdict. An election where no caste chemistry can yield a perfect formula.
It's a state that is splintered with power battles. The big question, will Maharashtra poll outcome unify parties or divide them further? And who will emerge as Maharashtra's undisputed leader?
It's a web of frauds, calls, luring emails, threatening messages. Cyber frauds have cast their net wide and everyone is at risk. We track the victims, their horror stories as they get conned online, extorted and robbed of their hard-earned money. How to identify a cyber fraud and how to stay cyber safe. What are your options? Fraud.con, NDTV initiative for cyber safety. Only on NDTV 24/7.
I've been reporting on all issues, big and small, from Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, rest of South India, bringing you all the action, all that you need to know, all that you want to know.
The energy of Maximum City is infectious. I bring in that energy in our news coverage from financial capital Mumbai.
India's IT capital is always buzz. It's literally a city that never sleeps. And I keep you ahead on all the Bengaluru buzz.
Covering from the southernmost part of India over the last 23 years, I bring in-depth and 360-degree coverage from the Dravidian heartland.
The land of Mishti is also known for its bitter politics. I have seen much water flow under the Howrah Bridge, covering Bengal in all its vivid colors.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever.
Very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vadva. We have a whole lot lined up for you, including the Supreme Court that has laid down now stringent guidelines while banning ragging in educational institutions with zero tolerance to the initiation as far as the ritual is concerned. You know, this is a ritual that the students think is the norm, yet ragging of freshers that often entails humiliation, abuse as well as resulting in profound physical and psychological loss, has continued to cast a long shadow. The death of this is the first-year student of a Gujarat-based medical college after he was allegedly made to stand for 3 hours underscores the severity of the issue. 15 seniors have now been suspended and booked after the 18-year-old medical student died in a suspected ragging case at his medical college.
This incident took place in a medical college located in Patan, which is 6 kilometers away from the Patan city, where in a medical college, the second-year students, they put out a message on a WhatsApp group calling a few of their juniors, as many as 10 to 11 juniors, for an introduction. And when they were there, they were made to dance, they were made to sing. And after several hours of, this particular sort of ragging that went on, some of these students were made to stand out, for long hours. This particular individual that we are talking about, Atul Patel, he was standing outside the room for close to 3 to 4 hours. And as it was an add-on to all the humiliation that he had faced already, eventually he collapsed. And then he was immediately taken to the hospital close by, where he was declared dead. Now, the college authorities here have been very prompt as they filed a complaint regarding the same, and they've also made sure that the academic activities of all the 15 students who are involved, in ragging have been suspended. Besides that, they've also interrogated the rest of the 10 students as well, who were the victims of this ragging. Yesterday, we saw that throughout the day, the interrogation of the 15 accused and the 11 victims and the 10 victims went on throughout the day. And today, we are expecting the accused to be presented in the Patan court at around 4 to 5 in the afternoon or before that. That is the major detail, that is a major update coming from there. The police would be asking, the local authorities would be demanding for as strict action as possible in this particular case. But then questions will also be asked to the MBBS college where this particular incident took place, even though they were very prompt to react. The student in question here scored really good marks before qualifying for this particular college, and he comes from a family of farmers, which has seen a sort of an atmosphere, a very ugly atmosphere being created in the entire Patan region of Gujarat.
Right, thank you, Anush, for getting us all those details. And switching tracks now to Himachal Pradesh, and the court has now ordered the attachment and potential auction of Himachal Bhavan here in New Delhi near Mandi House. This is due to unpaid dues. We're talking about power dues which have remained unpaid to the tune of 64 crore rupees. That along with interest is now amounting to 150 crore rupees. So the Himachal Pradesh government has failed to clear those power dues under the leadership of the then Congress party, and has allowed the sale of the Himachal Bhavan, and it is the BJP that has hit out at the Congress party for its poor policies that now they say have been finally exposed. Now the power department has attached the Himachal Bhavan, which is used as a guest house, and it is the Himachal Bhavan which is of prime importance as far as the state is concerned. The High Court has allowed the power department to attach that Bhavan, and has also it is perhaps potentially going to be auctioned, with the BJP fuming over the Congress government as far as Himachal Pradesh is concerned, saying that this is quite an unprecedented situation and the Congress government has failed completely.
सबसे बड़ी बात है कि हाई कोर्ट का फैसला 13 जनवरी 2023 को आया और उसके बावजूद भी सरकार जो है वो गंभीरता से इसको नहीं ले रही है। ये जो सेली प्रोजेक्ट का अपफ्रंट प्रीमियम का जो पैसा 64 करोड़ रुपए देने के लिए आदेश हुए थे, मुझे लगता है कि जो हिमाचल प्रदेश की सरकार सारे विषयों को बहुत गंभीरता से नहीं ले रही है। ऐसी स्थिति हिमाचल प्रदेश की आज से पहले कभी नहीं आई। पहली बात, कोर्ट के मामलों को भी सरकार गंभीरता से नहीं ले रही है और एक के बाद एक फैसले जो हिमाचल प्रदेश में जो हो रहे हैं, जिसके कारण सरकार की फजीहत होती जा रही है।
कोई बड़ा नहीं है, लेकिन अपफ्रंट प्रीमियम जो है वो एक पॉलिसी के तहत है और एक पॉलिसी के तहत 2006 में जब ऊर्जा नीति बनी थी तो उसमें उस ऊर्जा नीति में मैं भी मेन आर्किटेक्ट था, मैडम स्टोक्स उस समय ऊर्जा मिनिस्टर थे। तो अपफ्रंट प्रीमियम ये था कि कोई भी पावर प्रोजेक्ट लग जाए, लगे या ना लगे, उस पॉलिसी में क्लियर है, हमने एक रिजर्व प्राइस पर मेगावाट जैसे 10 लाख रिजर्व प्राइस रखा था, उस अपफ्रंट के मामले में आर्बिट्रेशन से कोई फैसला आया, उसके खिलाफ हाई कोर्ट हमारी सरकार गई और सरकार ने उसमें जो 64 करोड़ रुपए आर्बिट्रेशन का था वो जमा कराना था। उसके बारे में मैंने अभी जानकारी प्राप्त की है।
Our main focus is on the national capital's toxic air that one is breathing for days on end. Now we're talking about 7 days of highly toxic and very dangerous levels of pollutants which remain suspended in the air. As far as visibility levels are concerned, there's been a slight improvement. You can see that the sun is trying to trickle in. However, the visibility levels have remained to be an issue even today. We're talking about 999 points of the AQI being recorded in certain areas of the national capital. In Greater Noida, the pollution count over 800 points and no respite in sight, which is what is being said. It is the Aam Aadmi Party asking the centre as far as why the centre is keeping mum as far as the pollution crisis is concerned. The BJP hitting back at the Delhi government in regard to the farm fires in the state of Punjab. The BJP there, taking to the streets of Delhi in protest and also continuing to distribute the masks to the citizens of the national capital, hitting out at the Aam Aadmi Party for its inaction and for dragging its feet in order to curb this perennial problem, talking about why no steps have been taken in order to ensure that the situation changes at least this time around. Of course, it is the Aam Aadmi Party who has gone on to say that there is literally no respite in sight because the only solution to this problem could come in the form of rain, which is not expected at least over the next 7 days, and which is why they're saying that they have tried to take measures on the ground, but as far as the skies are concerned, only rain can help solve this problem, which is why they are proposing artificial rain and for which they're asking the centre for an emergency meeting.
I'm right now at the construction site of a Dwarka underpass. We know Dwarka Sector 8 is one of the pollution hotspots in the national capital. You can see right here the construction work is going on despite the Graded Response Action Plan Stage 4 implementation, where there is complete ban on all sorts of construction as well as demolition activities. But here the labourers are of the opinion that they haven't been instructed or given any circular stating a ban on the construction एक्टिविटी. सर आप मुझे बताइए कि ये अभी क्रेन चल रहा है, काम चल रहा है, सब कुछ हो रहा है फुल टाइम, राइट?
नहीं चल रहा है काम, तो मैनुअली काम चल रहा है, क्रेन वेन से कुछ नहीं चल रहा है.
और मैनुअली तो काम तो चलाना भी होगा क्योंकि नहीं तो इन लोग को पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे.
हाँ, पैसे नहीं मिले. बंगाल से, यूपी से, जो भी झारखंड से, जो भी चारों ओर से लेबर आए हैं सब, इसीलिए चल रहा है काम. वो मैनुअली चल रहा है मैडम, ऐसे नहीं चल रहा है.
और सर हर साल हम देखते हैं कि पोल्यूशन के वजह से कंस्ट्रक्शन बंद कर देते हैं. उसके वजह से जो लेबरर्स आते हैं, आप जैसे बोल रहे हो बंगाल से, बिहार से, तो उन लोग को पैसा कौन देता है?
मैडम ठेकेदार देता है, कंपनी देती है पैसा. जो 1-2 दिन 3 दिन बैठते हैं उनका देता है, कंपनी देती है.
कॉम्पेंसेशन मिल जाता है?
हाँ देती है मैडम. 8 घंटे की जो भी आता है दिहाड़ी वो देती है कंपनी.
बट अभी जैसे हम देख सकते हैं पूरा ऐसे स्मॉग आ गया है, पोल्यूशन लेवल बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, कोई इधर मास्क नहीं पहना है, काम भी चल रहा है. आपको नहीं लगता ये लोगों पे बुरा असर हो रहा है?
ये तो गलत है मैम, मगर कोई अभी थोड़ा ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं दे रहा है, मगर अब ध्यान देगा अभी.
और सर कंपनी से कुछ ऐसे सर्कुलर ऐसा कुछ आया है कि काम बंद कर?
हाँ कंपनी बोली है कि बंद कर दो. कंपनी से आदेश आया है कि काम बंद कर देना है. मगर हम लोग लेबर लाए हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हैं, तो काम चलाना पड़ेगा. उन लोगों को कैसे पैसा दिया जाएगा, कहाँ से दिया जाएगा?
ये सब क्या बन रहा है एग्जैक्टली?
ये द्वारका एक्सप्रेसवे बन रहा है अंडरपास से मैम.
कब से बन रहा है
ये? मैडम हमारे ख्याल से 2019 की 20 से बन रहा है.
तो दिल्ली सरकार है वो लगातार सेंट्रल पर ब्लेम कर रही है, कह रही है वो जॉइंट एक्शन प्लान लेके नहीं.
दिल्ली में सांसों का आपातकाल है. वो जो सेंटर को ब्लेम कर रहे हैं उनसे पूछना चाहिए कि आज पराली का, आज 19 तारीख है, कल पराली का स्कोर क्या था. जो सरकारी आंकड़े हैं, अकेले पंजाब में 1251 घटनाएं रजिस्टर्ड हुई हैं. और क्या कारण है? यूपी में 133 और हरियाणा में 38 थी. तो कौन दोषी है उसका? लेकिन पंजाब की वो बात नहीं करेंगी. अपने नकारेपन, अपने निकम्मेपन को छुपाने के लिए अरविंद केजरीवाल और आतिशी मार लेना, दूसरी इधर उधर की बातें करती हैं. ये तो दिल्ली को इस हालत में लाने का जिम्मेदार अरविंद केजरीवाल है, उनकी सरकार है, जिन्होंने दिल्ली में सड़कों की मरम्मत नहीं की, गड्ढे नहीं भरे, जिसकी वजह से धूल के कारण दिल्ली में और सफाई व्यवस्था ना होने के कारण दिल्ली की ये हालत है।
सर, मेरा आखिरी सवाल ये है कि ग्रेडेड रिस्पांस एक्शन प्लान का जो चौथा स्टेज है वो अब लागू हो गया है, लेकिन फिर भी लगातार देख रहे हैं कि AQI और खराब ही होते जा रहा है। सरकार को क्या कहना है?
मैं फिर कह रहा हूँ कि अगर आपने 10 साल में मेजरमेंट लिए होते, अगर आपने 10 साल काम किए थे, तो आज आपको ये झूठ नहीं बोलना पड़ता। दिल्ली में अरविंद केजरीवाल के सरकार का नकारापन है, जिसकी वजह से ये खामियाजा दिल्ली की जनता भुगत रही है। और ये मास्क जो है, ये मास्क आने वाले समय में दिल्ली वाले के लिए चेतावनी है। अगर इस भ्रष्ट सरकार को यहाँ से नहीं हटाया तो हर दिल्ली वाले को ये मास्क पहनने पड़ेंगे।
सर, लगातार जो है दिल्ली में प्रदूषण बेहद गंभीर स्थिति में है, तो अब क्या स्टेप्स जो है दिल्ली सरकार द्वारा लिए जाएंगे?
पहली बात तो ये दिल्ली में नहीं है
जी,
पूरे उत्तर भारत में है। हरियाणा में है, उत्तर प्रदेश में है, मध्य प्रदेश में है, राजस्थान में है। पूरा उत्तर भारत इस समय प्रदूषण की चपेट में है। और जब आधा देश का हिस्सा प्रदूषण की चपेट में है, दिल्ली सरकार काम कर रही है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सभी सरकारें सो रही हैं। ऐसी स्थिति जब सबको सक्रियता से काम करने की जरूरत है, आज पूरी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार सो रही है, इससे बड़ा दुखद और कुछ नहीं हो सकता है। आज जो प्रदूषण की स्थिति बनी है दिल्ली के अंदर, हम काम लगातार कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो एक्सपर्ट्स का कहना है कि एक स्मॉग की चादर अब आसमान में दिख रही है और वो प्रदूषण के स्तर को लगातार बढ़ा रही है, क्योंकि जो प्रदूषण के कण हैं वो वायुमंडल में डिस्पर्स नहीं हो रहे हैं, उसको तोड़ने की ज़रूरत है। एक्सपर्ट्स की जो ओपिनियन है कि या तो हवा से टूट सकती है तेज, या बारिश से। आर्टिफिशियल रेन के लिए पिछली बार ही हमने IIT कानपुर के साथ पहल शुरू की थी। उनका कहना था कि इसके लिए सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की कई सारी परमिशंस चाहिए। इसीलिए इस बार अगस्त के महीने से ही हमने केंद्रीय पर्यावरण मंत्री जी को चिट्ठियां लिखनी शुरू की कि भाई एक इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुला लीजिए, एक मीटिंग बुला लीजिए, जो परमिशंस की ज़रूरत है उसको पूरा किया जाए, और अगर इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन बनती है तो लोगों को इस प्रदूषण की मार से बचाई जा सके।
Gopal Rai there saying that he has written to the Union Environment Ministry on multiple occasions, but no response has come about from the centre. And of course, he has been talking about artificial rain for a very long time now and is asking for that permission and for that emergency meeting regarding the same. Moving on now, unemployment rate has declined to 6.4%. We're talking about the urban unemployment rate with a sharp decline as far as women unemployment is concerned. So the urban unemployment rate is down to 6.4% in the last quarter between July to September, compared to 6.6% in the previous quarter, according to the government. This is the lowest unemployment rate recorded in the recent past. My colleague Sakshi has the details.
What is a positive indicator for India's economy? The urban unemployment rate in the September quarter has declined to a fresh low of 6.4%. This is due to a sharper dip in unemployment rate for women, according to the quarterly periodic labour force survey. The unemployment rate for young women has declined at a faster pace than the rate for young men during the quarter, as per the study conducted. And interesting to note here that the share of self-employed men have declined, while the share of self-employed women has risen as per this survey. The share of salaried workers has also increased to 49.4%, while the share of casual workers has declined to 10.7% during the quarter. While traditionally economists have considered salaried employment as a better form of employment, remember we are living in an era of entrepreneurship and enhanced startup culture that is driving India's economic momentum and is now reflective in such surveys as well.
And in other news, the Ministry of Information Technology, Government of India is working on a code of conduct for companies working with artificial intelligence in India. Let's listen in to what is being said by S. Krishnan, the Secretary of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology.
Another, staying on legislations, we have the AI guidelines that MeitY is now working on. Now, from what I understand, this is supposed to be a voluntary ethics code, right?
No, I mean, you see, there are multiple things here. I think one part of it, AI raises a number of concerns, right? There is a concern regarding how data gets used, how copyright gets adhered to, and so on. We believe that the DPTP Act and the rules thereunder will take care of the concerns relating to how personal data is used in the context of AI with consent and so on. Likewise, as far as publication and copyright rules are concerned, the existing laws more or less tackle those issues. That is the case across the world as well. Then there are certain, so these are one set of concerns. Then there are certain concerns around misrepresentation and fake news and so on. Our belief is that having used the existing legal framework, even during the May 24 election period, we believe that it has a fair amount of robustness and strength to deal with fake news. I think the crucial thing here is that fake news, misrepresentation is something that was happening even before this new legislation or before AI came in, right? The only thing is the sophistication and the technological upgradation which has taken place in the way that misrepresentation is produced or deep fakes are produced has changed. And it takes a little more effort to identify whether something is a fake. So the important thing then is to sort of see how we can act under existing regulations. And we believe to a significant extent the present IT Act provisions relating to Internet Intermediary Guidelines of 2021 more or less cover many of the areas of concern as far as deepfakes and misrepresentation is concerned. And we've been able to use those provisions with a fair degree of effort. Now, a voluntary code is something which we believe could initially help in terms of striking a balance between the areas where there could be potential misuse and ensuring that innovation goes on without too much of difficulty.
So what are those potential areas?
Voluntary code will cover things like how data will be used. Will cover things like explainability, saying that what exactly has been done and how a result comes about. Labeling in terms of this particular information has been prepared based on synthetic processes. So those kind of issues will be addressed, and the companies will also presumably take note of ways in which they can stay away from the most adverse possible impacts of AI.
And now breaking news coming in regard to the meeting of the Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar with his Chinese counterpart, the Foreign Minister of China. This is in a statement that has been released with S. Jaishankar talking about how our leaders asked for that particular meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro. We have Ghazali joining us. Ghazali, what all was on the table? What was really discussed, including talks regarding the India-China situation? Take us through this. It comes about right after the disengagement that's taken place.
So this is yet another confirmation from the Foreign Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar, that how this disengagement plan with India and China, which was announced last month in Kazan in Russia on the sidelines of BRICS summit, has been activated or have been implemented. And now Mr. Jaishankar also said that the leaders have directed saying that Mr. Modi and Xi Jinping have agreed that the foreign ministers and their special representatives of the border dispute issue should meet at an early date, and some progress and some discussions have happened in that direction as well. So this is a big development when it comes to India-China relations, that first the disengagement plan was activated, implemented and agreed upon, and the Foreign Affairs Minister is confirming that in his opening remarks on the sidelines of this G20 summit where he met his Chinese counterpart. Besides that, he also stresses the fact that after the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, now the other officials who are related with the border-related issues, both the countries, will be meeting soon. That date has not yet been updated, but Dr. Jaishankar mentioned that some progress and some discussions have happened in that direction as well. So it is very likely that in near future or in coming time, both the leaders who are concerned with these departments of border dispute or line of actual control from the External Affairs Ministry will be meeting from both sides in coming time.
Right. Thank you so much, Ghazali. And let's get you some international news now. The Kremlin has gone ahead and accused Joe Biden's outgoing US administration of wanting to escalate the war in Ukraine by allowing Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, to use long-range missiles for strikes inside Russia. Going on to say this is an appropriate and palpable response. The decision, first reported on a Sunday over the weekend, to allow Ukraine to conduct strikes with US-made weapons deep into sovereign Russian territory, has not been formally announced by the White House, but a German government spokesperson said on Monday that Berlin had been informed. Now, Putin had said that Moscow would take the appropriate decisions based on the threats that we will face, and previously suggested that Moscow could supply long-range weapons to other countries with the aim of targeting Western targets. In news from Ukraine, a Russian missile strike on the port city of Odessa has killed at least 10 people and injured 44 others, including 4 children. Local authorities say that 3 of the injured are in a serious condition, and the attack targeted a residential area, damaging an apartment building, a university, as well as an administrative building. Ukrainian President Zelensky has condemned the strike, saying it was a deliberate attack aimed at showing Russia's true intentions. He accused Russia of spreading false claims about halting attacks and emphasizing that the real goal here is war. And this is, of course, in terms of a massive China-Russia natural gas pipeline that was completed, and this is the Chinese state media reporting on Monday, suggesting that Russian gas could begin showering Shanghai by the end of the year. Moscow is now largely reliant on the Chinese market for its gas exports after Europe blocked the imports over the Ukrainian invasion, but efforts to build a separate pipeline stalled earlier this year over price disengagement. Prosecutors have said that 2 men put financial profit over human life when they attempted to smuggle a couple from India and their 2 young children across the US-Canada border in heavy snowfall and bone-chilling winds, leading to the family freezing to death. Prosecutors allege that the Indian national Harsh Kumar Ramanlal Patel, 29 years of age, ran part of a sprawling human smuggling scheme and recruited Steve Shand, 50 years of age, to shuttle migrants across the border. Both men have pleaded not guilty to 4 federal counts related to human smuggling. Their trial in Minnesota is expected to last about 5 days. Nearly 108 trucks were violently looted in Gaza over the weekend. That is what the United Nations has said, underscoring the challenge of delivering desperately needed food and supplies to the war-torn strip. The convoy was forced to take an alternate route after the Israeli military instructed it to leave a day earlier than planned, according to UNRWA. Now, the main aid agency for Palestinians that Israel banned last month. Israel has been letting in significantly less food and supplies into Gaza in recent weeks compared with previous months, and the United Nations recently warned that the entire strip faces the risk of famine. The deteriorating conditions prompted Pope Francis to call for an investigation into allegations of a genocide in Gaza, his strongest criticism yet of Israel's war with Hamas. "76 Palestinians have been killed because of Israeli military strikes across Gaza in the past 24 hours, is what the health ministry has had to say. Some survivors have said that the victims were ripped apart into fragments as hospitals are under siege and malnutrition cases are on a rise. Meanwhile, lawyers for a Palestinian rights group has gone ahead and told a court in London that the UK is allowing parts of F-35 fighter jets to be exported to Israel, despite saying that they could be used in breach of international humanitarian law in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed that last month's airstrike on Iran targeted a specific component of Tehran's nuclear program as well as its defense, and missile production capabilities. Speaking in Israel's parliament, Netanyahu did not elaborate on which part of the nuclear plant, this is the nuclear program, that was struck. And the Competition Commission of India has imposed a penalty of 213 crore rupees on social media major giant, we're talking about Meta, for unfair business ways with respect to WhatsApp privacy policy update that was done in 2021. Besides, the competition watchdog that has directed Meta to cease and desist from anti-competitive practices. A proposed law that would redefine New Zealand's founding treaty, this is between the British Crown and also the Maori chiefs, has triggered political turmoil and a march by thousands of people the length of the country to the parliament to go ahead and protest against it. The bill is never expected to become law, but it has become a flashpoint on race relations and a critical moment in the fraught 180-year-old conversation about how New Zealand should honor its promises to the indigenous people when the country was, this is when it had in fact colonized. And with that, it's a wrap of this bulletin. News and updates will continue on the other side. Do stay with us.
I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
It was the grand launch of NDTV World by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. NDTV World, as he laid out his vision for the India century at the NDTV World Summit.
ऐसी सदी जिसमें भारत के प्रयासों से दुनिया में स्थिरता आए.
In the presence of those who are shaping our future.
मेरी तरफ से आपको ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं हैं.
NDTV World, your new home for global news is here. Stay informed and entertained with the new and updated NDTV News app. You can watch all our channels live, listen to podcasts, read breaking and exclusive news from around the world and more. Download the NDTV app today and get access to the best journalism and storytelling on your smartphone or tablet. The NDTV app. News that matters to you. NDTV proudly upholds its legacy of trust and credibility. According to the prestigious Reuters Institute's Digital News Report 2024, NDTV is the top-most news platform in the country. Number 1 in both online and offline reach in India. Beating all its competition, NDTV stands for trust.
Hello and welcome to India Sense, where I speak with global opinion makers.
The United States has made a strategic decision over the last 20 years to move closer to India.
So a $7 trillion economy seems a perfectly conceivable number.
If you want to be a national party, it's that you sort of accept the way the world is rather than want to endlessly hark back to how it was.
Modi is promoting the digitization of the economy, which is accelerating growth in the country.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your
47th president.
Donald triumphs. What does Trump's win mean for America, for the world, for the wars, and for India-US relations? Non-stop coverage on NDTV. Top analysts and voices from the ground. Extensive coverage on NDTV.
This week on India Ascends. All eyes on upcoming Rio G20. India poised to mend emerging economies, G7 divisions. Trump 2.0. Is it time up Trudeau? Ottawa stares at fresh turmoil. Chinese security personnel in Pakistan. Is it Beijing's bid to colonize Islamabad? And in Bangladesh, why does Attorney General want secular removed from the constitution? All this and more only on India Ascends with me, Gauri Dwivedi, at these timings on the NDTV network.
We reached an agreement on petroling. We have gone back to where
Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Gargi Rawat. Stay with us for all the news. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Delhi Environment Minister Gopal Rai writes to Union Environment Minister over clearance for artificial rain, accuses the centre of ignoring its earlier request, says artificial rain is now the need of the hour as Delhi chokes with pollution. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar met with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Rio, marking the first meeting since India and China signed the border disengagement deal in October. In a significant move, the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam's board has decided it will remove all non-Hindus from the board and administration. This decision after the recent Laddu controversy, the BJP welcomes the decision. Bahujan Vikas Aghadi workers create a ruckus in Virar, accusing BJP leader Vinod Tavde and candidate Rajan Naik of distributing money. The BJP calls it baseless allegations. The Madras High Court restrains the grant of award to TM Krishna, says award can't be given in Subbalakshmi's name. The order after Subbalakshmi's grandson had objected, claiming that Krishna had criticized her many times, something denied by TM Krishna. The Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly does away with the rule that candidates having more than 2 children are ineligible to contest elections for local bodies, putting an end to the 30-year-old policy. This as the Chief Minister has spoken and voiced his concern over the falling birth rates. 15 accused arrested in the ragging case in Gujarat after the death of a first-year student who was made to stand for 3 hours in Dharpur Medical College. Right, and some breaking news now coming in. Russian President Vladimir Putin has upped the ante and allowed the use of nukes. According to these latest reports, he has approved an updated nuclear doctrine and warned, it's a warning to the US with the new nuclear doctrine. Remember, this comes just after reports that Biden had approved the use of US missiles in Russia, the use by Ukraine, and this was something that was expected to get a big reaction from Russia, given that till now US missiles, long-range missiles, were not being used in Russia by Ukraine, but US President Joe Biden allowed or gave the nod rather to the use of these long-range missiles, and now this can be seen as a reaction to that big development that was anyway expected to really raise the tempers when in the Russia-Ukraine war. And now the latest news coming in that the Russian President Vladimir Putin has allowed the broader use of nukes. He's approves the updated nuclear doctrine and a warning
to the US with this new nuclear doctrine, a reaction really to the US's move of allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles, allowing Ukraine to use US missiles for use inside of the Russian border. So this now this reaction coming with Putin updating the Russia's nuclear doctrine after Biden's arms decision on Ukraine, a somewhat controversial decision. So President Vladimir Putin updating Russia's nuclear doctrine, and this comes, as I mentioned, 2 days after Joe Biden, the US president, granted Ukraine permission to strike targets deep inside Russia with US-made weapons, something that was not allowed by the US till now. Remember, US has been providing arms and ammunition to Ukraine, but it was contingent on that Ukraine should not use these inside Russian territory. But Joe Biden, who is on his way out, gave the nod for Ukraine to use long-range missiles in Russian territory. Well, let's go across to Ghazali now for more on this. And Ghazali, we were expecting some kind of a reaction from Russia after the nod by Joe Biden for the use of US missiles in Russia. And now it seems Vladimir Putin really upping the ante there.
Yes, certainly, because Russia has been hinting at the Kremlin, the foreign ministry. They're all saying that perhaps the US or the last days of this Biden-Harris administration is just pushing or putting oil into the fire of the entire conflict between Russia and Ukraine by now allowing Ukraine to use those missiles which will have deep penetration into Russian territory. And that is why this new nuclear doctrine, deterrence, which has been announced by Russia, the Russian President, Mr. Putin, allows that anywhere inside Russia, if that attack happens, then perhaps it will always give a reason for Russia to attack on those countries which are part of this NATO bloc or those who are supporting Ukraine. And this is all happening at a time when confusing signals have been given by Mr. Zelensky. If you remember last week, the German Chancellor spoke to Mr. Putin, then Zelensky had expressed some kind of dissatisfaction that why we are allowing Russia and Mr. Putin to continue the attacks, and yet we are opening the communication channels with him. Then we know that Mr. Trump, who will be assuming the office in a couple of months from now, whether he will be able to contain this war, because that was the premises of his entire campaign, that he will be able to put an end to all the war, be it the Russia-Ukraine one or be it the West Asia one. But there has been no such indication that how he is going to bring those two leaders to the table at a time when the escalation is happening. Last week, there were multiple drones which are launched from both sides, but Russia's escalation or attack into Ukraine has killed more than 10 people in the last 2 days with their drone and missile attack into the urban areas of certain areas in Ukraine. And with the winter setting in, there are reports that Russia is also attacking the power plants to ensure or to put a psychological pressure. With the winter setting in, power outage in most of the areas of Ukraine will certainly build that pressure which has been happening for the last 2-3 years. But now this nuclear deterrence, which has been reissued by Russia, certainly indicates that Mr. Putin has upped the ante after the US administration has given a green signal to Ukraine and Mr. Zelensky that he can use those missiles.
That's right, Ghazali. So, a fresh round of saber rattling, really. If you could just explain to viewers what the new nuclear doctrine entails, the one approved by Vladimir Putin.
So, Mr. Putin has been hinting that any country which is providing military aid to Ukraine or even giving these long-range missiles, because be it UK, US, Germany, these are the 3 countries who are the top contributors when it comes to the military aid to Mr. Zelensky or Ukraine in this war. And perhaps now it was being thought that perhaps this NATO group of countries who were supporting Mr. Zelensky will also face a reprisal if Russia thinks so. And Russia feels that now, if these long-range missiles are given to Ukraine and if Ukraine uses it into Russian territory, then Russia will also attack to those who are supporting Mr. Zelensky and Ukrainians in this war by giving arms and ammunition.
All right. Thanks so much, Ghazali, for joining us on these latest developments and Putin allowing and approving the updated nuclear doctrine as a means of deterrence there for Russia. This coming 2 days after a US president approved the use of US missiles by Ukraine. All right, now the big story we've been tracking these last few days, Delhi's pollution crisis, and the latest development, Delhi's Environment Minister Gopal Rai has now written to Union Environment Minister over clearances for artificial rain. Remember, this is something that he has been pushing as a short-term measure to tackle the poor air quality in the national capital, accusing the centre of ignoring its earlier requests. Delhi Environment Minister Gopal Rai said that artificial rain is now a need of the hour and called for an emergency meeting. Delhi has already shut schools, stopped construction to prevent the rise in pollution that poses a serious health threat to crores of residents in the national capital region. This was something that the Supreme Court also had said yesterday, that all states are joining Delhi, and in fact the national capital region, that GRAP 4 restrictions should be in place there as well. To bring down pollution, authorities are exploring options like artificial rain, which can be induced by the cloud seeding process, which experts believe will wash away pollutants from the atmosphere. So Delhi Environment Minister, they're pushing for cloud seeding, and it's been a week. Remember, there has been no improvement in the pollution level of the national capital, but politics has also peaked with the ruling Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi trading barbs with the opposition BJP, and in a dramatic protest, BJP distributed masks, calling the situation a health crisis. So there you can see BJP leaders distributing masks. On the other hand, the Delhi government, including Chief Minister Atishi, has been blaming the centre for not taking action over stubble burning across North India and other states as well, claiming that Punjab did take action. We also spoke with the Environment Minister. Let's just listen in.
तो दिल्ली सरकार है वो लगातार सेंट्रल पर ब्लेम कर रही है, कह रही है वो जॉइंट एक्शन प्लान लेके नहीं।
दिल्ली में सांसों का आपातकाल है। वो जो सेंटर को ब्लेम कर रहे हैं उनसे पूछना चाहिए कि आज पराली का, आज 19 तारीख है, कल पराली का स्कोर क्या था, जो सरकारी आंकड़े हैं। अकेले पंजाब में 1251 घटनाएं रजिस्टर्ड हुई हैं। और क्या कारण है? यूपी में 133 और हरियाणा में 38 थी। तो कौन दोषी है उसका? लेकिन पंजाब की वो बात नहीं करेंगी। अपने नकारेपन, अपने निकम्मेपन को छुपाने के लिए अरविंद केजरीवाल और आतिशी मार लेना, दूसरी इधर उधर की बातें करती हैं। ये तो दिल्ली को इस हालत में लाने का जिम्मेदार अरविंद केजरीवाल है, उनकी सरकार है, जिन्होंने दिल्ली में सड़कों की मरम्मत नहीं की, गड्ढे नहीं भरे, जिसकी वजह से धूल के कारण दिल्ली में और सफाई व्यवस्था ना होने के कारण दिल्ली की हालत है।
सर, मेरा आखिरी सवाल ये है कि ग्रेडेड रिस्पांस एक्शन प्लान का जो चौथा स्टेज है वो अब लागू हो गया है, लेकिन फिर भी लगातार देख रहे हैं कि AQI और खराब ही होते जा रहा है। सरकार को क्या कहना?
मैं फिर कह रहा हूँ कि अगर आपने 10 साल में मेजरमेंट लिए होते, अगर आपने 10 साल काम किए थे, तो आज आपको ये झूठ नहीं बोलना पड़ता। दिल्ली में अरविंद केजरीवाल के सरकार का नकारापन है, जिसकी वजह से ये खामियाजा दिल्ली की जनता भुगत रही है। और ये मास्क जो है, ये मास्क आने वाले समय में दिल्ली वालों के लिए चेतावनी।
दिल्ली में प्रदूषण बेहद गंभीर स्थिति में है, तो अब क्या स्टेप्स जो है दिल्ली सरकार द्वारा लिए जाएंगे?
पहली बात तो ये दिल्ली में नहीं है
जी,
पूरे उत्तर भारत में है। हरियाणा में है, उत्तर प्रदेश में है, मध्य प्रदेश में है, राजस्थान में है। पूरा उत्तर भारत इस समय प्रदूषण की चपेट में है। और जब आधा देश का हिस्सा प्रदूषण की चपेट में है, दिल्ली सरकार काम कर रही है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सभी सरकारें सो रही हैं। ऐसी स्थिति जब सबको सक्रियता से काम करने की जरूरत है, आज पूरी भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार सो रही है, इससे बड़ा दुखद और कुछ नहीं हो सकता है। आज जो प्रदूषण की स्थिति बनी है दिल्ली के अंदर, हम काम लगातार कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो एक्सपर्ट्स का कहना है कि एक स्मॉग की चादर अब आसमान में दिख रही है और वो प्रदूषण के स्तर को लगातार बढ़ा रही है, क्योंकि जो प्रदूषण के कण हैं वो वायुमंडल में डिस्पर्स नहीं हो रहे हैं, उसको तोड़ने की ज़रूरत है। एक्सपर्ट्स की जो ओपिनियन है कि या तो हवा से टूट सकती है तेज, या बारिश से। आर्टिफिशियल रेन के लिए पिछली बार ही हमने IIT कानपुर के साथ पहल शुरू की थी। उनका कहना था कि इसके लिए सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की कई सारी परमिशंस चाहिए। इसीलिए इस बार अगस्त के महीने से ही हमने केंद्रीय पर्यावरण मंत्री जी को चिट्ठियां लिखनी शुरू की कि भाई एक इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुला लीजिए, एक मीटिंग बुला लीजिए, जो परमिशंस की ज़रूरत है उसको पूरा किया जाए, और अगर इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन बनती है तो लोगों को इस प्रदूषण की मार से बचाई जा सके।
All right, so as we talk about the pollution crisis in Delhi, the Environment Minister, they're saying artificial rain is the need of the hour. He's asked for the centre to allow it. Remember, several permissions need to be given by the centre before one embarks on something like this, which is also called cloud seeding, which is the process of artificially generating rain. It involves implanting clouds with particles such as silver iodide crystals, potassium iodide, and dry ice. To talk more about this, we're now joined by Professor S.N. Tripathi, Dean Kotak School of Sustainability, IIT Kanpur. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program. And with, the big focus being Delhi's pollution crisis and the Environment Minister really pushing, Delhi Environment Minister pushing for artificial rain, if you can explain to our viewers what is this, and there are lots of pros and cons to this, isn't it?
Thank you, Gargi, for having me here. Yes, artificial rain, as a means to mitigate pollution has been used in China during Beijing Olympics and afterwards. So certainly this is a last resort which people and countries like China have used it, and they have perfected this art. Now, generally speaking, it does not have any adverse environmental impacts when you seed clouds, and consequently it leads to some rain. But one has to definitely, make many experimental trials in order to perfect it. Basically, you have to find optimal meteorological conditions, and as you alluded to, different kind of seeds mixture, which are effective in glaciating the clouds, and eventually that can trigger the rain formation. So when you are in such a critical situation, you have such episodic pollution, the rain or artificial rain cannot be experimented and tried now. And given also that, as you mentioned, that there are so many clearances which must be in place, and given that Delhi NCR is a very crowded, aerospace, and being a capital of India, capital region of India, that's not going to be a very easy process.
Right. So are you saying this is not something that we can use as a solution right now, the way, our Environment Minister Gopal Rai is pushing it, that this is the need of the hour? There are also concerns about flooding if one, triggers this artificial rain, and also putting chemicals in the air because one has to put silver iodine, etc. in the air.
Well, the amount of water which generally falls and the seed what you put into in order to, create this rain or rain initiation is very, very insignificant. So many tests has happened across the world, wherever weather modification or cloud seeding and thereby artificial rain has been tried. There is no untoward adverse effect has ever been documented. But you are right that, trying this at this point of time is definitely not going to work, because as I said that the countries who have done it, and Israel is another, which uses it for drought, basically elevation, and for other irrigation related measures. You can do it, but it requires lots of experimentation. I also have not seen that there are many occasions or instances where flooding has happened. I mean, India itself has done some seeding trials as a part of Ministry of Earth Sciences project, and they have seen that about 17 to 20% enhancement in rain over many, many trials that happened, I think, from 2019 to 2021. So I do not know that you can really increase the rainfall so much that it can lead to some kind of flooding.
All right, so bottom line, right now, this is not something that's going to work for us in this present air pollution crisis. It's also something that we'll not be able to implement right now.
Very difficult to implement, given all the clearances and the optical weather conditions, and to get optimal results. These three are big ifs, and so to have it succeed this point of time, the probability of that will be low.
All right, Professor S.N. Tripathi, thank you so much for speaking to us here at NDTV. Moving on to other news now, and the BJP has welcomed the decision of the TDT board to remove non-Hindus from its staff. The new TTD board, that's the Tirumala board, has taken a decision to send non-Hindus to the state government cadre or offer them voluntary retirement. So this is a decision that was taken after the recent controversy over laddus at Tirumala, and the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam board has now taken this decision to remove all non-Hindus from the administration. In an exclusive interview, the newly appointed TTD board chairperson told NDTV that the decision is fully justified, that why should non-Hindus even work in Tirumala.
So the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, the new board's first meeting, has taken certain decisions, all of which were in fact given to NDTV about 2 weeks ago in an exclusive interview after being appointed as chairperson of the TTD board by Mr. B.R. Naidu. The most important one among them is about removing, or rather not having non-Hindus working for the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, the board, the employees of the TTD, and as many as 48 people may be repatriated to the government, or they may be given the choice of voluntary retirement service, both those options. And the chairperson had told NDTV that it was well within its rights as a Hindu institution to have only Hindus working for the TTD. The second one is about transferring the funds that are available with the TTD, which may be in private banks, to be moved to the nationalized banks. As much as 5,000 crore rupees could be moved in this manner. The third important item was about the timing that is there, that it takes for darshan in the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, as many as 30 hours sometimes, and now using artificial intelligence technology, the TTD wants to bring down that time to about 2 to 3 hours of waiting time before you get a darshan of the Lord. The fourth one has to do with another scheme that had been introduced, in fact, to expedite the time for VIPs who pay up to 10,000 rupees for that darshan. And Srivani scheme has been revised in such a manner because earlier there were scams, or rather allegations of a scam in the implementation of that particular scheme. The fifth important point is about removal of debris. Huge amounts, almost mountain loads, is what the chairperson had told NDTV, have been found in the Tirumala hills because of the huge number of pilgrims who come in, and therefore all that waste, there is going to be a huge project to clear out all the debris from the Tirumala hills itself. The sixth and the seventh have to do with the Anna Prasadam that is given, served to pilgrims free of cost there, and now there is a proposal to add an special item to the menu every day that is served to the people who visit Tirumala as pilgrims. And the seventh one, the chairperson had told NDTV that they intend to revise the procedure for procurement of commodities, especially after the allegations of use of animal fat in the laddu, the Tirupati laddu that is used and given to the bhakts and the devotees, and also of course first given as offering to the god. And he had said that the impurities may have come because of the kind of procedures that are there, the lapses in that, and therefore they were going to take a relook at the procurement protocols as well.
Well, in other news now, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has expressed strong disapproval of the Life Insurance Corporation of India's decision to predominantly use the Hindi language on its website. He claims this move serves as a tool for imposing Hindi, and he shared a screenshot of the LIC webpage featuring predominantly Hindi content, and he posted this on social media, where he said that the availability of the English option being displayed in Hindi signifies an imposition that undermines India's cultural diversity, and asked for a rollback. Let's go across to Sam Daniel for more on this. And Sam, not just M.K. Stalin but also EPS and BJP ally Ramadas have also slammed this move by the LIC.
That's right, Gargi. This particular move by LIC has touched a raw nerve in Tamil Nadu, and it has once again triggered the sensitive issue of Hindi imposition in a state known for its anti-Hindi agitation as early as the 1930s and 1960s, beginning from Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, the opposition leader EPS, and now BJP's own ally, PMK Chief Dr. Ramadas, have slammed both the LIC and the central government. M.K. Stalin calls this LIC website being reduced to a propaganda tool for Hindi imposition by force. He says even the option to select English option on the website is in Hindi, which means only those who can understand to read Hindi will be able to use the website. And he says LIC grew with the patronage of all Indians. How dare you betray majority of its contributors? And PMK Chief Ramdas says Centre and LIC should understand that LIC and central government offer all the people, not just for Hindi-speaking people. And EPS says Centre is waiting to use every opportunity to impose Hindi in every possible way. In a pluralistic country, imposing one language will impact equality. This is unacceptable. So far, neither LIC nor the central government have responded to this criticism. And this comes amid continuing opposition to any form of Hindi imposition by Tamil Nadu, be it the new education policy, do it the names of railway stations and trains, or the names printed in tickets. They've been continuously opposing, saying that Hindi is just like any other language spoken across India. It's not a national language according to the constitution, and to promote Hindi alone is an insult to other languages, and it's unacceptable. Tamil Nadu has also been pointing out, irrespective of the government in power here, that Jawaharlal Nehru, when he was the Prime Minister, had assured non-Hindi speaking states that English would continue to be the link language between the centre and other states, and Hindi will not be imposed until states are willing to accept it at some point in time.
That's right, Sam. Do stay on with us, and we know why this is such a big issue, because LIC is something that across the country so many people have have taken life insurance from LIC. We're joined by BJP's Pradeep Bhandari. Your reaction to this news coming in from Tamil Nadu, where across the board all politicians are opposing this move of having Hindi predominantly on the LIC website.
The website is available in both the languages. The switching of the website at present happens in Hindi. So it's not that the website is only available in Hindi. We support all Indian languages, and it is the Prime Minister who's done maximum for the Tamil language, whether it is, for example, whether the engineering exams earlier never used to happen in other Indian languages. It is our government which ensured that it could happen in every other Indian language, including Tamil. So we respect every Indian language, and for us, every Indian language is equal. This is a needless controversy in order for the politicians in Tamil Nadu, in particular the DMK politician, in order to score some political brownie points. However, the fact suggests that the LIC website can be accessed in both the languages.
Right, but as the Chief Minister has said that you need to know Hindi even to choose the option of having the website in English. Why?
I think the Chief Minister knows that every individual in this country knows some amount of basic lingua franca of Hindi. It is not reading the website in Hindi, it is switching from one to the other. So there are many common words in the dictionary where there are many English words that people who even do not understand English can at least know that. For example, if they're very common words. Similarly, they're very common Hindi words. So switching a website from one language to the other does not mean that you are imposing that language on it. So I believe Mr. Stalin, when he speaks to his Hindi heartland colleagues in the India Alliance, he does not speak in Tamil, and neither do they respond to him in Tamil. That does not mean that Mr. Stalin is imposing Tamil on the others, or the others in the India Alliance are imposing Hindi on Mr. Stalin. So I think it's a hypocrisy on his part to make this a needless, make this a political.
All right, but the BJP's own ally, PMK Chief Ramadas, has also demanded a rollback of this.
Yeah, it is coming from our alliance partners. We will definitely take that into consideration and examine it.
All right, we'll leave it there. So a controversy there sparked by the LIC website being predominantly in Hindi, with Tamil Nadu Chief Minister demanding that it be rolled back, saying this is Hindi imposition. And EPS of the AIDMK and PMK Chief Ramadas, who is a BJP ally too, have asked for this rollback and said stop imposition of Hindi language. Well, moving on to other news, and the Madras High Court today restrained the Hindu from presenting the Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award in the name of MS Subbulakshmi to musician T.M. Krishna. The court said that the Kalanidhi Award and cash prize can be granted to T.M. Krishna, but not in the name of MS Subbulakshmi. The court was hearing a plea moved by Subbulakshmi's grandson, Srinivasan, challenging an award conferred on Krishna in her name. The legendary singer Srinivasan's main contention was the award cannot be given to someone who had constantly criticized his grandmother. He pointed out various instances of Krishna's apparent criticism of Subbalakshmi, quoting his write-ups that have appeared in several sites like The Caravan and The Wire, and a speech that he made in Hyderabad in 2016. T.M. Krishna, on his part, has vehemently denied belittling the legend Subbalakshmi and added that his remarks were being taken out of context by Srinivasan.
Initially, they alleged that T.M. Krishna had made comments trivializing the achievements of the late legendary singer M.S. Subbalakshmi. But this particular order comes on the basis of her citing a will written by M.S. Subbalakshmi herself, in which she has clearly said that there shall be no institution of anything in her honor, which could include awards or any foundations in her name. It's on that basis the Madras High Court has today ruled that the Music Academy in Chennai can give the award to T.M. Krishna, but it cannot be in the name of M.S. Subbalakshmi. The award itself is called the Sangeet Kalanidhi Award in the name of M.S. Subbalakshmi, and it's in this context the court has said no in her name. But T.M. Krishna has denied these allegations, saying that his comments have been taken out of context. Earlier this year also, soon after the Music Academy had announced the choice of its candidate for this particular award this year to be given during the music season in December, a few renowned Carnatic artists had raised objection and had even said they would never perform again at the Music Academy. And the Music Academy, in a response, had said this award, he was chosen on the basis of a recommendation by an exclusive committee constituted for this purpose. And it's in this context we have to see this. But many also point out that Srinivasan, the grandson of M.S. Subbalakshmi, has not raised similar objections for, there are many other institutions or awards in the name of M.S. Subbalakshmi, and he has been quite selective, hinting that it's in a specific reference to T.M. Krishna, this objection has been legally presented, and now the court has given this particular order not to give any award in the name of Subbalakshmi.
All right, some breaking news now coming in, and Air India Express has put the lives of passengers at risk during a scheduled flight. The passengers have been stuck in Phuket for 80 hours due to technical issues. The flight was delayed by 6 hours and passengers were left waiting at the airport without proper assistance. This is a flight from Phuket to Delhi on the night of November 16th. After boarding, they were deplaned an hour later, and as the flight was cancelled, that elderly passengers and children were among those who were stranded. And the next day, the same plane was used, deemed repaired, but after 2 hours and 24 minutes in flight, it returned to Phuket due to technical failure. Well, let's go across to Pallav Mishra for more, and this is extremely alarming and concerning. Give us more details, and what is the situation now? The passengers are still stranded in Phuket?
देखिए, जो पैसेंजर हैं वो अभी पिछले 80 घंटे से वहीं पे फंसे हुए हैं। ये कि उन्हें अब तक जो है कोई जानकारी नहीं दी है। उनको जो है अब डिपार्ट जो है दिल्ली के लिए किया जाएगा, और ये 16 तारीख का मामला है। शाम को 5:50 की फ्लाइट है, जो वहाँ का लोकल टाइम है, 17:50 की टाइमिंग थी, और उसके बाद इस फ्लाइट को जो है 6 घंटे की जो है देरी के बाद उड़ाने को बोला गया था। उसके बाद वहाँ पे 1 से 1.5 घंटे तक जो यात्री थे उनको वहाँ पे हवाई जो प्लेन थी उसके अंदर बैठाया गया। उसके बाद उनको बताया गया कि तकनीकी खराबी है, उसके बाद उनको उतार दिया गया, और फिर उसके 24 घंटे बाद उसी विमान को फिर उड़ा दिया गया, और करीब 2 घंटे कुछ मिनट तक जो है वो विमान वहीं थाईलैंड में ही घूम रहा था। उसके बाद उसको अचानक से फिर से एयरक्राफ्ट में कुछ प्रॉब्लम की जानकारी देकर उसे जो है लैंड करा लिया गया। फिलहाल 80 घंटे से अधिक का समय हो चुका है और किसी भी यात्री को कोई जानकारी नहीं दी जा रही है। वहां पर बड़ी संख्या में जो है यात्री परेशान है और वो लगातार जो है इसको लेकर मांग कर रहे हैं कि कब जो है उनको जानकारी दी जाएगी, लेकिन फिलहाल यात्रियों को कोई सहूलियत नहीं, और एयर इंडिया एक्सप्रेस इस पर अब तक कोई बयान जारी नहीं किया है।
जी, तो अभी तक कोई ऑफिशियल रिस्पांस नहीं आया कि कब तक इन पैसेंजर्स को वापस लाया जाएगा?
कोई भी जानकारी जो है एयर इंडिया एक्सप्रेस की तरफ से नहीं दी गई है। ये यात्री वहां पे लगभग 80 घंटे का अधिक का समय हो चुका है और वहां पे फंसे हुए हैं। इनकी फ्लाइट 16 नवंबर की थी शाम को, जो लोकल वहां का टाइम है 17:50 का, और उसके बाद से अब तक उसी फ्लाइट को तकनीकी खराबी के चलते वहां रुका गया। नेक्स्ट के बाद फ्लाइट को जो है टेक ऑफ कराया गया, लेकिन 2 घंटे कुछ मिनट जो है वहां पे फ्लाइट जो है लगातार हवा में तैरती है। उसके बाद उसको जो है ये कहा गया कि कुछ तकनीकी खराबी है एयरक्राफ्ट में। उसके बाद उसकी इमरजेंसी लैंडिंग वापस जो है थाईलैंड के फ्लैंकेट एयरपोर्ट पे करा दी गई, लेकिन तब से अब तक यात्री वहीं पे परेशान है। उनको पास में स्टे दिया गया है, लेकिन कोई उनको जो है इसको लेकर अभी तक कोई जानकारी नहीं दी जा रही। क्या दिखते हैं, कब उनको वापस लाया जाएगा, क्या कोई विमान वही विमान जाएगा, तो ऐसी कोई भी जानकारी नहीं दी जा रही है। जी।
All right, thank you so much. That's Pallav Mishra bringing us all the latest regarding the situation for these passengers. What an ordeal, stuck for 80 hours. And as he was explaining to us, initially the flight was delayed. Then they were boarded onto the plane. However, they were then deplaned, and the next day, Air India Express claimed that the plane was ready for the flight. And however, after 2 hours in the air, over 2 hours, they were brought back to Phuket, and that is where they remain. So it's been an 80-hour ordeal for these passengers, and so far no word from the airline on as to when they will take off and when they will be brought back to India. Moving on to other news now, the United States clarified to Bangladesh it does not support government involvement in violent crackdowns on peaceful protests. This statement follows a recent clash between members of the Hindu community and law enforcement forces in Bangladesh, triggered by a Facebook post. When questioned regarding this clash, the U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller reiterated that the U.S. supports the right to peaceful protest and opposes any government engagement in violent responses to such demonstrations.
I'm not going to speak to private diplomatic engagements from here, but we have made clear to the government of Bangladesh, as we make clear to countries all around the world, that we support the right to peaceful protest, and that in no way should any government engage in violent crackdowns on peaceful protests.
All right, joining us now from Dhaka is senior journalist Muhammad Kamruzaman. Thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. What has the reaction been there to the U.S. comment on this protest and clashes that took place?
Thank you very much for having me. Actually, the ground reality here in Bangladesh is that Hindu and Muslims and other community people, they have been living very peacefully for many generations. Actually, the incident in Chittagong, there are some exaggeration on social media and other platforms. The ground reality is that just after the fall of Sheikh Hasina on August 5, actually the supporters and activists of ousted Awami League government, they are even entering into the protest of Hindu communities, and they are trying to make chaos to get a political benefit. And we have found this in many parts, and this is the allegations of the interim government. And for the pure clarification, actually, the chief advisor, Professor Dr. Muhammad Yunus, has invited even India and other international communities to send journalists here in Bangladesh to investigate. And according to the claim of the interim government, is that there was no such incident on a big scale. Actually, after the fall of Sheikh Hasina, you know that in the movement and mass uprising during the whole July and first week of August, nearly 2,000 people, mostly young students, were brutally murdered. And in those killing missions, not only the police and law enforcers were involved, actually the armed cadres of the then ruling Awami League party and its different wings like Chhatra League, Jubo League were also involved. And
right.
At that time,
but you understand this is a big concern for India as well. We've also spoken on this this official crackdown that, concerned that it's the government that is engaging in this suppression of a peaceful protest.
Actually, in capital Dhaka, there are many such protests. In Chittagong, the violent protest where it was reported, there were other protests also, all were peaceful. And there were even some pictures, some videos that some people who were involved in Awami League politics, they were in those demonstrations, and even they made a statement before the media addressing themselves as Hindus. So there are some exaggerations. So for a proper investigation, whether this was perfectly happened, an investigation team under the supervision of the United Nations may come to Bangladesh and they can conduct a fair investigation, and then we can say what actually happened, and that will be perfect, I think, in this situation.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Muhammad Kamruzaman, for joining us here on NDTV. With that, we'll slip into a short break. More news coming up on the other side. Do stay with us.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola Edge 50 Pro, world's first AI-powered pro-grade camera.
A big decision by the Tirumala board that no non-Hindus will be allowed in the administration. The BJP welcomes the decision. High drama in Maharashtra's Virar, where BJP netas accused of cash for votes and BVA workers create a ruckus. The Madras High Court restrains the grant of an award to T.M. Krishna, saying it can't be given in Subbalakshmi's name after the grandson objects. Delhi chokes amid political blame game. BJP blames AAP for the Delhi health crisis. The Delhi government demands artificial rain be allowed by the centre.
NDTV proudly presents NDTV World Summit 2024, the India Century. I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World and address the summit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inaugural session at the NDTV Summit outlined his vision for the India Century, driven by aspirational India.
हमारा प्रयास होगा भारत की सेंचुरी सिर्फ भारत की नहीं बल्कि पूरी मानवता की जीत की सेंचुरी बने.
The summit brought together prominent global leaders, highlighting India's pivotal role on the world stage.
Not just Indians trusting India's leadership, but the global South especially trusting India's leadership.
Permanent seat on the UN Security Council is something that should be India's right.
Canada is concerned, I think there are some very specific issues. I think a lot of people know that.
AI is going to be one of the most important, drivers.
It's a very exciting time for India, Indian cinema as well at a global level.
NDTV World Summit was more than just a conversation. It was a confluence of ideas poised to shape our global future.
घोषणा आणि जनतेचे पैसे लुटणं.
कट कमिशन आणि करप्शनला आमच्याकडे थारा नाही. त्यांचा परिवारवाद आमचा महाराष्ट्रवाद.
महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 1,75,000 जागा रिक्त पण का भरत नाही? राज्याची जनतेच्या घमाच्या पैशाची तिजोरी लुटण्यासाठी हे सरकार आहे.
पूर्वीच्या सरकारच्या काळामध्ये निधी देताना त्यांना असं वाटायचं की त्यांच्याच खिशातले पैसे चालले. शेतकऱ्यांना मोफत वीज देण्याचं काम आपल्या सरकारने सुरू केलं.
The last elections of 2024. It's the battle for India's economic heart. An election that will decide Maharashtra's future.
Can the big brother BJP manage the competing ambitions of Mahayuti? Can the Red Book rally the voters once again for Congress and its allies? So as Maharashtra's future trajectory takes shape, we report from the ground.
Two visions, two ideology, one verdict.
An election where no caste chemistry can yield a perfect